Taiwan, I'm Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's defense ministry says China has deployed its largest Navy fleet in the region in 3 decades, posing a greater threat to Taiwan than previous Chinese drills around the country. It comes amid a spike in Chinese military activity in the area as Beijing seeks to expand its Indo-Pacific presence. Jaime Okan has more.
Taiwan's defense ministry says that China's military activity poses one of the largest threats when compared to previous war games. Senior Taiwanese intelligence officers say that China has deployed its largest Navy fleet in the region since 1996. Taiwan says many of these ships are within the first island chain, which stretches from Japan all the way down to Vietnam. Reuters is reporting that roughly 90 military and Coast Guard ships are operating around Taiwan, citing security sources. Although the defense ministry hasn't confirmed that number, they say that the high number of ships is still a cause for concern.
这个数字的的确确非常惊人，而且回过头来，这些数字所散布的位置，它已经超过了，如同我刚刚前面讲的，超过了台湾、广东在第一岛链跟第二岛链之间，所以意图是什么？我想不言而喻，我们大家都非常的清楚。
China has not yet formally announced exercises, but it did designate 7 reserve zones near the country's eastern Zhejiang and Fujian province from Monday to Wednesday. China's foreign ministry says that they vow to defend its territorial integrity as it sees Taiwan as a domestic issue. Neighboring countries like Japan have also spotted Chinese military aircraft and ships operating in the region, most of them heading south towards waters near Taiwan. Military officials here in Taiwan have previously warned that given the frequency and large scale of these military exercises, there's a concern that one of these drills could turn into a real-life military operation. That's why the military here is staying on alert and staying vigilant. Justin Wu and Jaime Okan in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says his country would provide Taiwan with the means to defend itself should China attack.
We've said all along that in accordance with the Taiwan Relations Act and you know, our commitment is that we will continue to help Taiwan attain the ability or the capability that it needs to be able to defend itself. We don't want to see any kind of unilateral change to the status quo in the Taiwan Strait.
Austin spoke at a U.S. naval base in Japan during what is likely his final official trip to the Indo-Pacific before leaving office. He warned about China's potential to spur shifts in the international order and reaffirmed the U.S.'s commitment to maintaining stability in the region. Israeli forces have advanced within 25 kilometers of Syria's capital, Damascus. Israel also launched a number of strikes in Syria overnight as opposition leaders look to form a government following the fall of President Bashar al-Assad. As Rick Loud reports, the rapid change in the balance of power raises big questions for world leaders.
Just 2 days after Syria's leader Bashar al-Assad fled his country, Syrian refugees in Turkey crowd the border, eager to return home. It's a long wait to cross, but many here have been waiting much, much longer for the fall of Assad's regime.
هذا كان حلم. كان حلم. صرنا 50 سنة 60 سنة تحت الظلم. يعني. حكمنا. الحنزير. ايوه. الحمد لله إن شاء الله نتأمل مع الله إنه يرجع الأمل مثل ما كان الأمن والأمان ترجع سوريا مثل ما كانت ونعملها.
Assad inherited his father's tyrannical regime and was president for more than 2 decades. For the last 13 years, he had waged a brutal civil war against opposition forces with the help of Russia and Iran. But with those international allies dealing with their own conflicts, a rebel coalition called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, led a lightning campaign that toppled the regime in less than 2 weeks. Now these rebels are forming a transitional government with the remnants of Assad's regime.
بس يعني الحمد لله حسن نعمل فيها شيء كثير كبير خلال الفترة الماضية. فراح تشوف في خبرات يعني ما انه القضية هي ما صفر يعني. ففي ملفات عنده مستويات نجاح فيها عالية يعني متفاوتة يعني. مع ذلك نحن عندنا ما عندنا استغناء عن الحالة القديمة، ضروري نستفيد من وجوده.
Western leaders welcome the fall of Assad and the blow it's dealt to Iran and Russia. But they are now unsure on how to approach a new government led by HTS. The group has a radical Islamist background, linked to the Islamic State or ISIS, and are labelled a terrorist organisation by the United States.
Presents a historic opportunity, but it also carries considerable risks. History shows how quickly moments of promise can descend into conflict and violence. ISIS will try to use this period to re-establish its capabilities.
Concerned about a neighbour now in flux, US-backed Israel launched hundreds of strikes on Syrian targets overnight, saying they don't want weapons to fall into the wrong hands. In the Syrian capital Damascus, jubilation over Assad's rapid fall is now turning into tentative relief that the fighting might now be over. But the shift in power here brings new uncertainties to a region that is already on a knife edge. Plan Wang and Liao for TaiwanPlus.
New trade terms between the U.S. and Taiwan take effect on Tuesday. The first agreement signed under the U.S.-Taiwan Initiative on 21st Century Trade will cover anti-corruption, customs administration, trade facilitation, and small and medium enterprises. Talks on a second agreement are ongoing. Taiwan hopes that continuing negotiations can ultimately lead to a free trade agreement with the U.S. U.S. AI tech giant Nvidia's shares have tumbled after China launched an antitrust investigation into the company. Beijing's investigation is widely seen as a strike at Washington and the latest escalation in an ongoing battle between the two for tech supremacy. Nvidia's products rely heavily on Taiwanese partners like TSMC, and the economy minister has warned the country could get tied up in the probe.
辉达大概卖到中国的东西都是在台湾这边制作的哦，所以那个大概没有一些正相关。我相信他们应该都有一些应变的方法。那如果需要政府这边给予协助，政府非常乐意来帮助我们的台商。
Both China and the U.S. view AI technology, where Nvidia excels, as crucial to national security. TSMC's earnings are up 34% from this time last year, showing continued growth from strong AI demand. The chip maker reported monthly sales of about $8.5 billion for November. This is a fall from October's numbers, but TSMC still clocked a sharp year-on-year increase. This is all as Taiwan's exports as a whole rose more than expected this month, also due to booming AI business. Taipei predicts December exports could rise as much as 7.5% year-on-year. Labor Minister Hong Sen-han is under growing pressure as he starts his third week at the helm of a scandal-hit ministry. As activists go on a hunger strike to push for labor policy changes, lawmakers are asking tough questions. John Van Trieste reports.
An activist wears a cardboard cutout of Labor Minister Hong Sen-han's face at a protest outside the Labor Ministry. It's just over 2 weeks since Hong quit the legislature to take up the post, and there's been little time to adjust to the role. Hong knows all about protests. He was a seasoned activist before getting his start in politics. Now he's the face of the government, and the labor movement has a whole range of expectations for him. Here, they're spelling them out and announcing a 100-hour hunger strike to pile on the pressure.
国定假日的修法，它的表态是什么？还有包含我们劳动政策，劳基法已经40年了，明年也要针对劳退新制的20年。但是对于这项重大的劳动问题，我们劳动部长似乎就避而不谈。
And alongside long-running demands like restoring national holidays cut from the calendar are new issues. First, they say the ministry has misused a fund meant to help with employment to cover frivolous expenses. Then there's the scandal that took down Hong's predecessor and got him the job. It's been just a month since a labor ministry employee died by suicide after severe workplace bullying. This has blown the lid on other claims of bullying at government agencies. And the pressure is on for Hong to do something. Hong's not just facing pressure from the streets either. He's given a progress report to the legislature's Health and Welfare Committee, and lawmakers across party lines had some questions for him about the same issues.
比如说增加国定假日等等，希望借由绝食让你听到他们的声音。你现在初步有想要利用这样子的场合回应吗？
我自己也认为，就按基金整体的管理，要朝向更监理化的方向来做检讨跟调整。
那职场霸凌，如果不敢去申诉的，最后你还是不会得到讯息。
我们会更强调，或更从这个无薪公务员到底他在生前他经历了什么，他遭遇了什么，重新检视跟还原。
Hong has promised progress on the bullying scandal, with the re-examination set to wrap up this week and a new legal system for reporting bullying to follow. But even if he can pull the ministry out of that quagmire, he must still convince the public and lawmakers that he was the right choice for his job. And with a range of other expectations on him, that may prove difficult. Chris Ma and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Bangladeshi human rights organization Odhikar is this year's winner of Taiwan's Asia Democracy and Human Rights Award. President Lai Ching-te praised the group at a ceremony in Taipei.
必须长期面对骚扰、监禁以及监视等问题。尽管如此，我们看到各位保持坚韧不拔的斗志，在追求民主人权的道路上勇敢前进。
Odhikar has worked to promote human rights in Bangladesh since the 1990s, publishing yearly reports on the issue. The Taiwanese foundation that presents the award said Odhikar has helped expose incidents of extrajudicial killings, disappearances, and torture. Taiwan has developed several new technologies in the fight against agricultural waste. Our reporter Sandy Chi explains.
Agriculture is an essential part of daily life, producing food for the nation. But it also generates tons of waste. In a bid to reduce these leftovers, Taiwan has developed various innovative technologies to maximize the use of agricultural byproducts. Taiwan produces around 400,000 metric tons of pineapples every year, leaving up to 200,000 tons of pineapple peel as a byproduct. To make better use of the leftovers, researchers have developed a method to transform the peel into silage to replace forage and cattle feed. This approach is not only sustainable, but also reduces cost by 30% compared to importing grass for feed.
吃皮跟吃草一样，那就是营养成分的差异，额外的添加一些的饲养成分，然后把它营养给补足。
Meanwhile, Taiwan's Fisheries Research Institute has found new purpose for leftover oyster shells. They can be ground into powder and formed into underwater reef structures.
都是试图提供孔隙、阴影、适合的基质，让这些珊瑚啦、藻类啦、附着无脊椎生物躲栖。
Despite developing several new techniques to repurpose byproducts, the government is still pushing harder for zero waste. It's now looking at other leftovers, such as rice husks.
我们下一步要把稻壳里面的这些高价的物质把它提出来，比如说矽，也是工业上一个很重要的产品。
For the past decade, Taiwan has been working with research institutions to achieve zero waste goals. Though there is still a long way to go, it is certain that such an approach is needed, as creative new ways will be key to tackling climate change for a greener world. Patrick Chen and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, we head to Argentina for this year's Comic-Con. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.